nonetheless. But smaller government, that was a real focus, I believe, if I'm correct, of the Glenn Beck rally at which you attended, and a lot of people were really cheering that on, people in attendance. Your own state, for example, of Alaska, gets a lot of government money. At last check, our room here that does this calculation at Fox News and Fox Business, $9.4 billion. Yet a lot of people, you yourself in Alaska, and a lot of people at that rally say smaller government. Does that mean that states like Alaska should get less money then?
States like Alaska, who have less than 1% of our lands owned in the private sector, the rest is pretty much locked up by the feds and by other levels of government. States like ours are saying, come on, federal government, let us produce, let us safely, responsibly develop our God-given resources so that we can contribute more to the rest of the U.S. and help secure our union and not be takers. That's why you're seeing a shift in Alaska. That's why you saw me being elected governor. I ran on that platform, smaller government. I ran on that platform as a city mayor. Joe Miller, who's going to win this Senate seat, he's running on that same platform saying, again, government is not the answer, but let us produce more, contribute more. Man is created to work and to be entrepreneurial and not to have to rely on government to do it all for us.
Now, Governor, your son, Track, served a year-long deployment in Iraq, and tomorrow the president is delivering an Oval Office address on the drawdown of the troops there. What are your thoughts here?
Well, Liz, you had brought up the point of giving credit where credit is due. I sure hope that tomorrow when the president speaks to the nation that he gives credit where credit is due. When we talk about surge strategy that has worked, that was successful by some measures in Iraq, I want the president to be humble and so that we can trust him more, even on a personal level, that we can trust that his leadership skills are such that he can admit that he was wrong and Joe Biden was wrong when they fought so hard against the surge and against President Bush and John McCain and the troops themselves, those who knew what the strategy should be to be implemented so that we could see some progress in Iraq. Obama was one of the strongest opponents of the surge and was not a believer at all that what we were doing there would result in any kind of victory. And tomorrow night, hopefully he won't take credit solely for that, but he will give credit to the troops, to President Bush, to the Republicans who pushed for it.
Do you think that there is credit to be given, as far as surges are concerned? He added thousands and thousands of troops in Afghanistan.
President Obama, when he was in the Senate, voted against funding, increased funding for many of our troops. And you know, we can cite many references to show what his position was over and over in the campaign, and I remember it clearly in the campaign, he believing that McCain was so wrong and that GW was so wrong on what they wanted to do there in Iraq. But yeah, our troops did well. They're doing well today. America owes them such a debt of gratitude, yes. Especially those families who sacrificed ultimately for our country, having lost loved ones over there. God bless them, and credit needs to be given where it's due.
And of course, Fox Business is going to be covering that speech by the president, and you couldn't be more right about that, Governor. Thank you so much. And Governor, I'm going to compare notes with you. I have a 6-year-old who's now in mite hockey, so I'm a hockey mom just like you. We've got to compare notes.
Oh man, you've got a lot of fun years ahead of you, a lot of 4 a.m. practices.
Right. A lot of traveling on the road, I hear.
And I love your glasses, Governor. Yep. I think I'm going to switch my glasses. I don't know if you like the horn rim look, but...
Thanks very much, Governor. It's good to talk to you. We appreciate your perspective.
Good to see you. Well, you just heard it, Sarah Palin on spending, taxes, deficits, and more.
Now, for what you didn't hear, next.
He has got to assure these tax increases that we're looking at hitting us in about 18 weeks are not going to happen. That will do wonders for the psyche of American business owners, those of us who are a bit hesitant because of the uncertainty, not knowing what is going to actually hit us come January 1st with the Bush tax cuts expiring. He's got to send that message that he understands now that increasing taxes on the job creators is not the answer.
Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin moments ago here on this show on what she thinks the government needs to do to create jobs.
For reaction, let's bring in our Bulls and Bears, Todd Schoenberger, Tobin Smith, Nancy Skinner, Gary B. Smith. Nancy, first to you. What do you think?
Well, I think it's funny that Governor Palin said incentivize the job creators, while the GOP right now has a blockade on a small business bill to help those job creators. Look at 70% of job creation comes from small businesses, and it's not coming from the top 1% that are worried about what their tax bill is going to look like, because these are multi-billionaires, not even necessarily job creators, CEOs who aren't waiting to see if their taxes go down 4 percentage points on the top marginal bracket. It's the mom and pop shops that have no access to capital right now that are creating the jobs. The small business bill is designed to get them loans, to reduce some taxes, to help them get equipment. And the GOP is saying, you know, we're not voting for this, even though it's fully paid for and won't add to the deficit. So I think who she is cheerleading for is a bit off.
We will say this, though. You know, July personal income and spending came out, Tobin. The top 5% are now accounting for about 37% of the spending out there.
Yeah.
So you could argue that's driving sales, etc. Nancy's not wrong when she says that it is the Republicans who are holding up that bill for the small business group.
Well, they are, and the Republicans would say it's because the way they're paying for it is not by cutting spending, it's by moving stuff from another side. But I would go a different way. You know, the bank debt, the lack of credit, no question for many small businesses has been a problem. I've talked with hundreds of people that have. But we're more about confidence. And the issue today, as a small business person, I'm expanding our company. We're doing, you know, we're in the internet space, et cetera. We cannot get enough good workers. And yet when you sit and you say, boy, would I hire that person or would I put them on a contract basis because I don't want to take the load? We put everybody on a contract basis. So the reason is the confidence level is not to the point where I can say I can make a 2-year decision. I can make a 6-month decision.
You know, Gary B., getting back to the incentivizing that the Governor Palin was talking about, and to be fair and balanced, Republicans are saying about that small business bill is that it's voluntary. When the banks get that $30 billion, they don't have to lend it out at all. They can just sit on it. So is this the way to go with government loans to banks rather, to create jobs? That's what the Governor Palin's talking about.
I don't think it is. I think Nancy's point is putting the cart before the horse. It's not that businesses lack capital out there. It's not that they need to get these loans. What we all know is true is businesses lack customers. And the reason they lack customers is the consumer, all of us sitting here, are afraid to spend. We see taxes going up. We see health care going up despite the health care plan. And so everyone is reining in their wallet. We see that in the consumer numbers almost every month. What you can do to spur business doesn't need incentives other than to cut their taxes. I agree with the governor on that. What businesses need is the consumer to go out there and spend. And the only reason the consumer is going to go out there and spend, Toby touched on it, is if they feel confident and they feel they're going to have more money in their wallet in coming years.
Or, Todd, if they have a job, so that they have a way to pay for stuff. Quickly, Todd.
That's right. Well, a couple of things here. One, when you look at the debt-to-income ratio, 3 years ago it stood at 134%, meaning that we owed $1.34 for every dollar we earned. Now it's 124%. We just don't have the credit. Accountability is what we really should be talking about.
All right. Thank you, gang. We'll see you in a little bit. Liars